certain commonality among all of these things. And the reference that I'll be using is Stephen Covey's book on the 7 habits of highly effective people. And those are the habits that we're going to talk about. But if you pick up any book on leadership, you'll find the collection of these habits somewhere in there. And his whole idea is that leadership is a lifelong journey. There's no magic pill here. You're not going to attend this workshop and suddenly transform yourself. But you need to develop certain habits over a lifetime that enable you to be a more effective leader. And to be able to bring about not only change perhaps in your organization, but change in your personal life. Okay? The next slide, my colleague, let me go back one. The slides you'll see here were developed by all the 3 people on the slide. Ben Lazare was with our Hopkins Center for Communications Programs for the first 10 years of our leadership program. He was a central figure. Ben's an enthusiastic, inspiring, experienced guy. I'm who I am, and you'll find that out in a moment or two. Annette DeVee was my colleague at the World Health Organization when I worked there, and she's become a central figure in our programs. Unfortunately, she's not here today, so you'll be hearing from me. You'll be hearing from my colleague from Indonesia, Muhammad Bigwanta, who says, just call me Big, okay? And maybe you'll be hearing from Hannah. We haven't quite determined that yet. She's feeling quite pressured, but we're trying to coach her into making a presentation. Okay, the most important, my colleague Dan always says, if you remember one slide, remember the next slide. If you want to be a good leader, just be yourself. All right? I'm going to present 2 conflicting ideas here in just a moment. But just be yourself. To be a good leader, you don't have to transform yourself into something that you're not comfortable with. All right? So when we say just be yourself, we mean you can be a leader. You can be a leader in terms of the situation you're in now. You can be a leader building on the strengths that you have. But we're going to talk about some things that you might want to change about yourself in moving forward. When we think about leaders, we saw a slide earlier of Nelson Mandela. Do you think Nelson Mandela went to a Johns Hopkins leadership course? I don't think so. Nelson Mandela was just being himself, a patriotic individual who wanted to do the best for his country and wanted to change government. He was highly successful at it. We have other examples of leaders. Do all of you know of Mother Teresa?
Yes.
Okay, Mother Teresa. Would you consider her a leader? She's very charismatic. Reports are that Mother Teresa was not a good speaker. She mumbled. People couldn't hardly understand what she said. So why was she a good leader? We'll come back to this a little later in the presentation. She was just being herself, and she was being sincere. One of her associates, when asked once, why is she so popular? Why is she so effective? And she said, basically because when you meet with Mother Teresa and she talks to you, you feel like you're the most important person in the world because she's listening and she's paying attention. All right? And again, we'll come back to that as a quality of good leadership. So if you want to be a good leader, just be yourself. Well, I already gave away my next question because I didn't operate this correctly. There have been lots of studies done about the qualities of a good leader. And they've been done across cultures in different countries, among different groups. And I was going to ask you to shout out some of the things that you thought would be a characteristic of a good leader. But by far, these surveys show that the most important characteristic of a good leader is integrity. What do we mean by integrity? It comes from the word integral, the root word that kind of means what's on the inside is what's on the outside. The same. Sometimes we think of integrity as people who are being honest, trustworthy. What I tell you, you can believe. This is who I am. I'm not trying to con you. With integrity. Integrity is the key and the heart of good leadership, no matter what culture you're in, no matter what situation. We're going to talk a little bit as we go through this course about this idea of management, leadership, and hope. Okay? We all work in different situations, and we have to balance the responsibilities we have, situations we're in, and the style that we apply. We'll talk about leadership in just a moment. Leadership is all about change. Management is about keeping things smooth, about sustainability, about running things smoothly. Does this mean that leaders don't have to be good managers? No, it doesn't. Good leaders are in fact also good managers, or they employ good managers or whatever. Coping, what's coping? Coping is when your boss comes in and says, I need you now. We're going to work on a completely different thing. There's a big bureaucratic fire that we have to put out. Can you get away from coping? Can we ever get away from coping? Who never experiences that? What?
We can't hear you.
Oh, how's that? Is that better?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Coping, I said, can we ever get away from coping?
No.
In an organization? No. So what is it we're trying to achieve? Basically, we want a good balance between leadership and management and coping. We want to minimize coping and have a good balance between leadership and management. Leadership is about change, trying to do something different to make the organization more effective, to make our personal lives more successful. But this idea of change begins with us. We have another slide we like to use. We say to change others, we may have to change ourselves first. I think you saw this slide earlier, or something quite similar. That means to change others, we need to be willing to change ourselves. We need to be responsive to our audiences. It doesn't mean that we have to give up our fundamental values. It doesn't mean that we have to change our fundamental character. But it may mean that we have to change the way we approach things, the way we approach people. And when we talk about Kevin's 7 habits, we'll get into this a little more. And I'll quickly say that this particular this is an overview presentation. You're going to end up at the end of this thinking, what is he talking about? We have lots of questions. And some of these things don't quite make sense. We're going to come back to these ideas as we move through the week, and we'll have a chance to address them more completely than in just this particular single session. All right, I indicated earlier that we're going to talk about leadership habits. Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Covey passed away several years ago. His book, The 7 Habits, was quite popular. He's worked with organizations at private sector levels. He's worked with small groups. What I like about his approach is he talks about being character-centered. His point is, one of his major points is, how can you lead others if you cannot lead yourself? All right? So in building that structure, he has this diagram, this paradigm on the right, which is a little hard to see on the screen. We'll approach it with a different graphic in just a moment. But his point is that the 7 habits are not 7 independent things that we learn and we do. These habits are sequential. We need to build on them. He groups them into 2 groups. He talks about the first 3 habits: be proactive, begin with the end in mind, put first thing first, as being the elements of what he refers to as private victory. If you want to deal with other people, if you want to reach out to other people, you first have to deal with yourself. In relation to dealing with yourself, you need to be proactive, you need to know where you're going, and you need to prioritize. Then he talks about the idea of public victory. Once you've done that, then you move out and you talk about these habits that deal mostly with your relationships with others. Think win-win, seek first to understand and to be understood, synergize. We'll go through these habits quickly but separately. And the final thing he talks about is sharpening the saw. And basically this is in order to work effectively with others, in order to lead others effectively, you have to take care of yourself. You have to take time out. You can't be going 120%, 150% of the time. So it's the idea of sharpening the saw. Another depiction that I like of this is this idea of the tree. And in this particular diagram, the first three habits where you are looking at the private victory of trying to develop your core principles and discover who you are, the roots of the tree. That's what keeps the tree steady. Habits 4, 5, and 6 represent kind of the growth of the tree as you reach out to others. I mean, you could push the metaphor and say you're providing shade to others and so forth. And then the idea of sharpening the saw is the rain that refreshes the tree and keeps it dry. I like the tree better than I do the previous diagram. It's a little more meaningful. Okay, when we talk about habits, we're talking about a combination of basically three things. We're talking about knowledge, things that we need to know. We want to know what to do, we want to know why we're doing it. We're talking about skills. How do we go about it? How can we work more effectively? How can we build relationships? And we're also talking about desire. What is it we want to do? All right? And the point at which those three things intersect is where our habits lie. And it's very difficult to develop a consistent habit if you don't have all three. We can have a New Year's resolution and say that we're not going to eat so much, which I frequently resolve not to do. And it goes on for a while, but I may have the knowledge, and I obviously have the skill. The question is about my desire. Do I really want to do that? But that's true in life, and it's true in our dealings with ourselves and with other people. So let's talk a little bit about this idea of private victory first. He starts off with a phrase that I like, that our behavior is a function of our decisions, not our conditions. Right? And he divides responsibility into two words, meaning that we have the ability to choose our response. We have the ability to choose our response. So in fact, we're in control of this idea of how we respond to certain situations. My colleague Ben used to say, this is Albert Einstein, he was a classmate of mine in high school, but Ben really wasn't that old. But if we think about leadership as being about change, then as we approach problems, as we approach issues that we face in tobacco control, or issues that we face in our personal lives, Einstein had very insightful quote: problems we face cannot be solved by the same level of thinking that created it. And how often do we keep doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same unsatisfactory results? And you've probably heard that's one definition of insanity, that you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect to get different results. So the question, if leadership is about change, then we have to consider the possibility of doing things in a different way. He offers this proactive model. I won't dwell on this particularly, but it's that idea about we have the ability to respond. Between any stimulus and our response, we have the freedom to choose. We have the freedom to choose how we're going to respond. And as individuals, as we're trying to achieve private victory, this is the point that I think we need to take seriously. And that freedom to choose has a lot to do with things like imagination, our conscience, or our moral values that we hold dear, the self-awareness, how aware we are of our characteristics and our personalities and so forth. And the idea that we do have an independent will. We can, in fact, have the freedom to decide what to do. So, the question is, if I want to, I wouldn't do that. If you're angry at me and you're shouting at me, I can either shout back, I can walk away, I can try to rationalize, I can try to engage you in conversation, but I have a choice. Okay? That's the main point. All right. I'm going to tell you a story about another idea that we introduced. And it's the idea of systems thinking. Meaning that as you make decisions, you need to look at things broadly. All right? And I'll return to this story again throughout the week. In 2004, I was a short-term consultant on a project that was working on UNICEF's 5-year plan for children's environmental health in India. I was a WHO consultant. I was the public health consultant. There were 16 consultants. Can you imagine? 16 consultants working on a project. That was an interesting experience for me. And I went to India for 9 weeks, 3 trips of 3 weeks each. And on the second trip, we took a field trip for one of the people who worked for UNICEF in the area of water conservation. And since we were working on environmental health, water was a significant issue. So we went off to sea in a rural area of India, a very poor state, Orissa, a rural area. We went off to sea a model water conservation village. And Amit, who was the consultant who was leading the group, put all 16 consultants on a bus, and we went off into rural India. We arrived at this village. Well, of course, we were entertainment for the village for the afternoon. But I noticed that when we got off, the people in this village were overjoyed to see this guy, overjoyed to see it. People were hugging him and all this sort of stuff. I thought, wow, that's really impressive. He has this close relationship with the people in the village. So when we had a moment after the welcoming had died down, I said, I noticed that these people really seem to have affection for you. You seem to have an excellent relationship. Can you tell me a little bit about how that developed? He said, well, it took a while. He said, when I first came here, nobody was interested in water conservation. They didn't want to talk about it. I said, well, that must have been discouraging. I said, why did you decide to go to another village? She thought, well, okay, I asked him a question. I said, well, what are you interested in? And they said, our cows. Our cows. Cows for their livelihood, right? Milk for the cows. He said, well, what's the problem with the cows? He said, well, we can't get them vaccinated. The government bureaucracy and all the regulations and stuff, we can't get our cows vaccinated. So I said, well, that must have been discouraging. I said, well, what did you do? He said, well, I worked with them for 6 months to get their cows vaccinated. During those 6 months, I was invited to a village festival. Then I was invited to a wedding. Then I was invited to another village festival. Then I was invited to celebrate somebody's birthday. And he said at the end of 6 months, we had a relationship. And they were ready to talk about water conservation. All right, so what's the point? Amit had a choice. He went to a village and said, I want to talk to you about tobacco control. It's been for years. Nobody wanted to talk about it. What do you do? Well, you have a choice. You can walk away and go find another village, go find another community. Or you can say, what do you want to talk about? And I know what's running through your mind. If they say our cows, you're going to say, that's not in my work plan. can't work with it, I can't deal with your cows, it's not my job. It wasn't Amit's job either, but he had a systems thinking orientation to his project. If I do this and win their confidence, then they will work with me on water conservation. So my question is, as you face, what kind